embossing powders and 5 sets of dies. Now, if you didn't see the one the other day, please go back and watch it, because if only to see the die collections in all their glory. Now, today we are concentrating on 2 die collections and some rubber stamps as well. So this is called Flight of Fancy, and you see we got 2 birds and 2 butterflies, and these were designed using a brush loaded with black ink. So I kind of scribbled these, and that's why you've got this sort of undulating sort of outline. They are very sketchy because that's how the designs were created. Next up, this is mixed media motifs. You can use them all together, you can use them all separately, it doesn't really matter. But they make wonderful backgrounds, the way that they just sit there. They're great for using with any die cuts. A very, very versatile set. At the end of today, when I've done the makes, I will show you some of the things that I've done using both sets. But let's get on with the make. I'm going to take my big shot, which is sitting here behind me. I'm going to start off with this lovely bird from the Flight of Fancy collection. I'm just going to cut that from black cardstock. Now, again, as I said the other day, I am cutting face up, and I wish I had the handle facing me. That would have been good, wouldn't it? There you go. Again, proves we're live. So we're going to run that through like so. Really smooth. Out it comes the other side. And here is my die cut ready to go now. All I need to do is take a die pick, or I'm actually using this tool from the paper sculpting kit, which is never far away from me. Pop those little elements out. So of course, with the more delicate die cuts like this, you do need to take a little bit of extra care so that they don't warp or change shape in any way, shape or form. But it really is a lovely clean cut, especially for a die cut that is so fine. Now, that by itself, just in black, is absolutely lovely, but we're going to do something slightly different today. And I've got some board here. I'm going to place my die cut there because I'm going to bring in some of my wonderful embossing powders. Now, we've got clear, we've got mirror platinum, we've got gunmetal and kettle copper. And if I can just reach over here, I'll show you a board on which I've used them all. Now, the mirror platinum, you can see I've stamped with it, and I've also used it to get a kind of an enameled effect on these die cuts from the mixed media motif sets, as I've done with the kettle copper, the gunmetal. The crystal clear is slightly different because obviously with this, I've used it as a resist. So I've stamped, applied the powder, heated it, and then inked over the top, and that gives you the resist. Now, of course, clear gives you any colour of the rainbow. Whatever colour you ink with, whatever colour paper you're using, if you're using pattern paper, put the clear over the top and the colour shines through. So those are the embossing patterns. Today I am going to work with kettle copper. So I'll just remove the top. I've got a Sizzix embossing ink pad. The other day I used a pigment pad, which was quite successful. I have used those in the past, and it came out quite well and gave me a very different effect. But there's nothing like an embossing pad for its viscosity and also for the way that it clings to these wonderful, wonderful powders. And these powders are quite fine. The colours are slightly different. I didn't want to go with gold and silver and rose gold. I think the world is awash with those colours right now. So we have gone slightly left field with these colours. I'm going to place my tweezers there to hold that. I'm starting off at the tip. I'm moving it around, and you can see the powder starts to melt. And it has a slightly mottled effect. Now if I go to the lower speed, that's going to smooth that out. So it's going to give me a much, much smoother finish. There. Now, what I want to do, I want to create almost like stained glass leading with this. So I'm going to go in with another coat of this wonderful embossing ink and apply some more powder. You can do this, sometimes I'll do it 3 times, sometimes twice. Depends on the effect and the size of the die. It depends how it looks at the end of it. So be your own judge with that. There is no right or wrong. And a good habit is to get your powder back in the pot straight away. There we are. That's all good to go. Now, let's take my heat tool one more time. And this time I'm going straight in with the slower speed. And watch how smooth this is now. This, as I said the other day, this looks like an expensive metal finding. It really does. I could go with another layer, but I don't think it's necessary actually. I think we're there on that one. Let's tip that so Josh can get in closer and highlight the dimension that's been created by the build-up of powders there. It's simply stunning. I wish you could wear it as a brooch. I wish. Not me. Oh. Well, I don't know. I suppose I'd look all right in a brooch. But now, I'm going to take this. This is going to go on my card, but underneath, I want to add some stamp detail. And this is the large splatter stamp from the Splats collection. I will show you the stamps later on, but I'm going in with 2 colours. Now these are colours that we used the other day. I said I had a bit of a fetish for them, and well, you know, I can't break away from it, I'm afraid. So this is Dried Marigold and Victorian Velvet. One of my favourite blends. Quite an unusual blend, I would imagine. But there we have it. Now, obviously, stamping with distress ink is very different to stamping with pigment or solvent inks. And what I'm going to do, you can see how it's mottling on the surface there. I'm going to activate this with a spritzer. I'm going to go with a very fine mist, because that will give me a wonderful effect when I apply it to my base card. So I'm pressing that in, and when I take that away, can you see how it looks like it's almost been watercolored there? It's really, really cool. And it's all broken up. It's not completely smooth. That is the sort of imperfection which I was trying to get. And you know what? It's different every time, and every time it is marvellous. It really is. It's great to experiment with these techniques. And I was watching a video of Josh's the other day, and he said, please send in any makes or ideas that you have, because we do love to hear from you. So maybe put some comments on the bottom of the video. Let us know what you're doing with these stamps and how you like to use them. So again, creative minds are rarely tidy. This stamp is from one of my Good Vibes sets. And I'm going to take some glue now and apply it, scribble it onto my craft now before lifting up this lovely bird with my tweezers. It's by far a better way of doing it than trying to apply. And see how the bird has kind of, or the splat rather, has kind of conformed to the shape of the bird, which was by design, naturally, of course. So I'll take my, now I'm going to be very careful this time, because I did a video the other day. If you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I stuck the front on the card, and when I held it up for Josh to zoom in on, the front fell off the card. That, my friends, is not good form. But there we have it. There is our first make, because we are going to do 2. The next one is very quick, actually. It's more variations on a theme. But that is from the Flights of Fancies die set. I'm going to put that to one side. And this time we are going to take a blank card. Where is my blank? Do you know what? I think I used my blank card for picking up the embossing powder, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. That's not a problem. We make, do and mend. That's what we do here. Now, with this one, what I want to do is I'm coming in with a different stamp which says art has no rules, which is a mantra to which I firmly adhere. I'm going to stamp, let's get a bit more Let's get a bit more. You know what? Al has no rules. I just broken my own rules. I always stamp, or ink rather, from above to ensure that I get really good coverage. But you know what? And I'm going to go again. I am actually going to go again because I want to get that coverage in the middle. That's perfect. Right. Now, let's get that in place somewhere around here. Lovely. Perfect. Now, what you can do, you can actually apply clear embossing powder to that, heat it, so it forms a lovely glaze. But what I've done is I've die cut using this die from the mixed media set, and I blended my Victorian velvet and dried marigold onto a piece of card before die cutting this lovely square, and you can see the blend from the dried marigold all the way over to the Victorian velvet there. And I'm going to take this again. We've just used this, but I'm going to use it again. I don't need any excuse for using this. It's a lovely splatter stamp. It really is. And I was explaining the other day, it's a great way, with these splat stamps, it's a great way of getting those random techniques, actually wrangling them and getting a little bit of control back. Because sometimes, if, like me, you like to experiment, you like to play around, then no doubt you've had moments, I'm going to spritz this with water again, you've had moments where you put the splatters on the card and it's absolutely ruined it. That is the last thing that we need, to be honest with you. So I'm going to place that in, I'm going to press it down, let the water do its thing, and again, we've got that lovely, really random, really cool kind of splatter that looks like it's been applied by just dropping something on it rather than stamping. But don't worry, it's our secret. No one else will ever know. Then, a bit more glue onto my craft mat. Pick up my tweezers and again take my die cut shape, which has had 2 layers of the clear embossing powder applied to it. Now, then I shall use this to frame that stamped sentiment there. Thus, and once that's in place, there we have it. Very simple, lots of white space, nice composition, pleasing colours. There's the other one. Very, very quick and easy, lovely to use. But I did promise you that I would show you some makes from the range. So let's take a look, first of all, at mixed media. And I'll bring in some different colours now. I'll probably photograph these and put them in the form of a blog at some times, where I can explain in more depth exactly what's going on and how I've achieved the different effects. There we are. So a lot of the stamps are coming into this as well, so we'll look back at the stamps in a minute. Some of the techniques you've already seen. There we are. I love that swirl. I love that swirl. We have, now this is mixing clear and gunmetal, so it gives it a lovely mottled kind of effect. And finally, how about this? This is clear in the middle, and this is the mirror platinum on the outside. Again, it looks like metal. You would actually think that that was steel. Let's take those to one side because I want to show you some cards made with the Flight of Fancy set. Those are the 4 dies that you're getting in the set. Let's start off with these 2. And again, I've used those embossing powders to get this. This is the gunmetal embossing powder. It's not a black, it's not a grey, it's a lovely metallic colour. But I've used that stamp that we just used as a resist. And we'll talk more about that in the blog. There it is, really used as a resist multiple times. And finally, the other little bird in the collection, similar sort of vibe with that. And this is our butterfly with the beautiful flowers from the Ikebana set. If you want to know about the Ikebana set, please go back to my previous video and you'll find out all about it. Now, stamps. This is where Josh zooms out because we've got a big old board to be showing you here. So we've got Good Vibes, number 1, and they all are very positive sentiments with very good... Look at me multitasking. Aren't they great? My mum would be so proud. There we are. That's Good Vibes, number 1. Good Vibes number 2, we've got Smile, Sparkle, Shine, which I love. These will work on festive makes as well. And finally, our splats. See what I mean about controlling these random kind of splodges and swashes, these wonderful techniques. So those are the 4 stamp sets. And finally, last but not least, card pack well, almost last but not least, we've got a wonderful pack of cards. Now, this is part of my eclectic collection. There are 10 colours, 6 of each colour, that's 60 in total. 216-gram card, and to see it in all its glory, how about that? Now, with our Colour Story cardstock, you're no doubt familiar with those 20 gorgeous colours. These are the same quality, same type of cardstock, whereas it has the linen texture on one side, it's flat on the other. But these colours kind of plug a few gaps, which I thought, I wish I had this orange. I wish I had that lovely burnt orange. Oh, this really vibrant green to go with the other greens in the collection. This lovely olive as well. So that's what I've done. I've created a colour palette which plugs those gaps. And I just did this to show you today, but I think I might even hang it on the wall, to be honest with you. Quite pleased with that. Now, there are 2 more dies, sets of dies, which I want to show you because, do you know what, until the other day, I haven't been able to make anything with these. These were from our Chapter 3 release, and this one is called Santa's Workshop, and this one is called Winter Garland. My own dies, and I can't even remember the name. But let me show you some of the makes that I've done with those. This, first of all, Winter Garland, that is just craft card with brayer work, so I've brayered some white gesso over the top of the die cuts. This one, simple, beautiful colours. Colours coming from our Christmas or festive collection. And then finally, a bit more work in this one, a bit more colour, that lovely brown underneath those white berries, and one of our bird cages from the bird cages set. Again, go back to the previous video, find out all about the bird cages. Then, next up, Santa's Workshop. There he is, the little fella, with all the presents and the tree, and of course, that lovely, lovely little deer with a terrible pun to a dear friend for which I make no apology whatsoever. And last but not least, Santa Claus is coming to town. So those are 3 die sets which are available now. I know we haven't been doing a festive make today, but if you are still in the festive mood, and quite frankly, aren't we all right now, you've got some last minute card making to do. They are perfect sets for that. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much to Josh for holding that phone so steady for such a long time. It must feel like a house brick. I'll see you again soon. It's been an absolute pleasure.